Hello, everybody. As you may know, hopefully you know, Christmas is right around the corner. It is actually Christmas Eve today. And with it being super busy, and I know a lot of people doing their own things with their family, and they have all their own little plans, I decided not to record a podcast for this week. However, I thought, hey, I got some time, so I'm going to hop on and just do a little thing, maybe introduce a new segment to you. Something I kind of been working on. My brother and I were kind of coming up with it, and originally I was just going to have him just hop on and do these, but you guys haven't seen him yet, and he's going to be on here pretty soon. Within the next couple episodes, we're going to get him on. But what it is it's going to be a new segment called JABS, and I may or may not still be working on the name, but I'm a big mixed martial arts fan, big UFC fan, as I have some memorabilia behind me that has to do with that, a couple cards, and I've had a couple guests on here that dabble in mixed martial arts, so I'm very passionate about it. And a move that is used in martial arts, is a jab. So whether it's boxing, whether it's Muay Thai, whether it's whatever else they're doing out there, you've got just the straight punch and you have the jab. And a lot of times the jab is used to find distance, see how far your opponent is from you, and it is also used to kind of throw a distraction technique in there too, to kind of get them guessing, wondering, okay, I'm coming, I'm right here, be ready for me, and then you get that right one in there, or you go with a knee or kick or whatever it is that you're going to follow up with it. It's more of a secondary, just a little boom, getting a little distracted. And I think in life, a lot of times people are looking for that knockout punch, that knockout kick, or that takedown, and they're just trying to, I'm going to hit all this at once. I'm going to try to take you down. I'm trying to knock you out or knock out this, whatever I'm working on, this project, this book. I'm trying to be a better person, I'm trying to be a better man, trying to be a better father. And maybe you're a female doing the same things, trying to be a better mother, trying to be the best you can be for your career and those around you. And a lot of times, in my opinion, we try to take off, more than we can. We try to bite off more than we can chew. And if we could just focus on these little things, one step at a time, we're not trying to be the best, perfect by any means, because that's not a goal that anybody can attain, perfection. But looking for those jabs, trying to find those little areas where we can cause a distraction, or we can create a little bit of alignment to get back on path. And so coming up with this thing called JABS, just coming in here, trying to be a little bit quicker than a normal hour-long episode, something that you guys can listen to on the way to work or after work or whatever it is, to be encouraged and motivated, and to just measure where you're at in life. Try to find how far away you are from that opponent, or maybe that adversity, whatever it is you're trying to conquer with that jab, reaching out. JABS also came up with a little acronym: Journey Alignment Brings Success. JABS. Sometimes we need to take a look at our journey and try to figure out, okay, where do I need to align my things? I need to get back on track. Where do I need to get back on track? And sometimes a jab is also used in a fight to kind of get back on track. You're too focused on looking for that big takedown. Just a little jab, kind of getting back in it, getting little points here and there. The little things, they really do add up. So with that, I do have a little bit of a, not necessarily a devotional, it does have some Bible verses with it, but I figured with the Christmas season being here as well, it is a time of caring, a time of love, and that's a topic that's been big on my heart lately, is love. So let's get after it. All right, once again, thank you for joining this episode of the Iron Purpose Podcast. I do not have a guest today. Like I said, it is just myself, and we're going to be doing a JABS episode. So this is JABS episode 1 with myself. Romans 8:28. And I wrote it down so I didn't have to try to memorize it, but it's one that I would like to memorize. Romans 8:28 says, and we know that all things work together for good to those who love God, to those who are called according to his purpose. Now, with that being said, some of us have probably been in arguments before with our significant others, with friends, with family, and we find ourselves afterwards feeling kind of bad, especially for maybe some stuff that we said in retaliation to what they were saying. And if you've ever been in an argument before, especially with a significant other, if you've never been in an argument with your significant other, please reach out to me and let me know. You must have the secret sauce or something to life. Anyway, they happen, arguments happen. And I remember finding myself one time sitting in this room actually going, man, why did that have to happen? It was all because of something silly in the first place that we were arguing back and forth about. And some stuff was said that I didn't feel good about. And this feeling sat inside of me. And afterwards, we kind of, once I went and talked to my wife, we both apologized. Said, "Hey, we were being silly. Why were we doing that? I don't know." And I apologized. And I told her, I said, I have to be better because that feeling that I was feeling, I didn't have to feel had I not lashed out in my emotions and just said what I had said, and vice versa. If I had thought about what I was going to say and said, I really want to say this right now, but it's not probably a smart choice. Instead, Bailey, lead with love. Lead with that love next time, and you'll have the more patience. You're going to lead with that love going, maybe I shouldn't be saying this. Maybe I should take a deep breath here and just say, you know what, I'm wrong. Yeah, I should have done this, and I didn't, and I apologize. Sometimes it can take them off guard, and it can sway the entire conversation, flipping it over completely avoiding it. And that's where I was at. I said, I don't have to feel that way anymore if I just lead with love. Now, am I going to get it right every single time? Am I going to be perfect? No. But having that in the forefront of my mind, leading with love, is going to help when I'm in those situations where I want to just start saying stuff. It's gonna appear in my mind like a light bulb saying, wait a second. Remember the last time that you didn't feel the greatest after you said something? Let's lead with love this time and see what happens. Courtney and I went on a lot of vacations this year, a lot of different places. And I don't even say necessarily they're all vacations, but a lot of adventures, I'll say, for sure. And one of the ones, we got to go see a UFC event, which was super cool. And I got the opportunity to meet up with Michael Chandler again. And I had a question for him. And he was actually the first one who knew that Courtney and I were pregnant. So that's also a cool little tidbit. But I had a question for him, because he's got his own podcast and he's very good with his words and with mentality, and he's got 2 kids of his own that he's raising up. And I'd ask him the question, so what happens when you're trying to encourage your kid to do something that is going to benefit them mentally in the long run, maybe even physically? For myself, I thought of a time where I was up on top of a water slide and I didn't want to go down because I was too scared, or a time when I was watching all my cousins getting pulled behind an inner tube on a boat on the lake. And I was like, man, it looks fun, but I'm really nervous. It looks really scary, to be honest with you. And there's times where I didn't do it, and I felt left out. I felt like that I missed out on an opportunity to have fun. Same with like roller coasters. Not a big fan of those. But once you do them, it's like, man, that was a lot of fun. I wasted a lot of time being scared on the sidelines and wondering, man, I should have just got in there. And as a parent, my question to him was, or soon to be parent, my question to Michael was, where's that fine line of encouraging your child or giving them a little bit of a push in the midst of their fears, knowing that they may benefit from it? They may say, you know what, Dad, you were right. This is so much fun. And you'll be able to see the happiness in their eyes, and you'll be able to see them conquer that fear. And I believe in the long run, conquering fears is going to help you become more confident and more strong mentally, physically, spiritually, holistically, all the way around. But there's also that fine line of pushing them too far and having them resent you and be upset with you that you pushed them to do something that they were actually really scared of. What was pushing them? What is going too far? Where is that line? And something that Michael said to me that's really stuck with me is lead with love. He said, I have two kids, Ace and Hap, and they're both completely different in their approach to life. And that's not a bad thing at all by any means, and I don't believe he was saying that I was either. But he's going to be able to push one of his kids more than he is the other one. One of them's a little more adventurous, and he can tell. And he's like, if you just lead with love, lead with their best interest in mind, go into each situation, you're not going to be able to apply the same tactics to every single thing, but if you lead with love, with that ground, that base, that foundation of love, it can really make a difference, and you're really going to be able to lead them in the way that they should go. And love can be a lot of things. I Googled, what is love? And Google says, love is a complex range of emotions and behaviors. It is very complex, but it is more than what people may think. You think of love, you think of marriage, you think of, the lovey-dovey butterfly feelings you get when you first start dating somebody, or when when you start thinking about the person that you really love and care about. But it listed off a couple things, and it's intimacy, which isn't just, with a partner, with your wife or with your husband, but can also be a closeness or a connection, that having that intimacy with somebody, having passion, having commitment, care, and trust. Those are all different things that love encompasses. Love isn't just giving somebody a hug, or your wife or your husband a kiss, or your girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever the case may be. It is having a closeness, a connection with somebody. It is that passion. It is that commitment, care, trust. And sometimes when we're trying to lead with love, sometimes when we're trying to be that best at the top of our game, and like I said, and I've quoted before, I can't remember who said it, but being your best when your best is required. And as some of you may know, I'm a correctional officer in the jail, and I brought this point up to some of the students in our impact program there, which is inmates making positive advancement, choosing transformation. We have a program there for these guys for that. And I brought that quote up to them, saying, we need to be our best when our best is required. Preparing for different situations, like being physically fit so we can go into certain scenarios and help people out if we have to. Being mentally fit, spiritually fit, all these different things in different scenarios. And then one guy brought it up. He's like, that really seems like a lot of different things that I have to be accountable for, and then I'm always just worrying for the next thing that may happen and trying to be ready for it, prepared for it. He's like, you could drive yourself crazy doing that. But if we dig down to the roots of the foundation of what this Bible verse above talks about, loving God, and we know that all things work together for good to those who love God, to those who are called according to his purpose. And in the Bible, it references a lot of different things that love could be. And after doing a little bit of research, these are the ones that I've found. Lead with love, which entails compassion, empathy, courage, humility, patience, self-control, kindness, trust, forgiveness, generosity, gratitude. All of these things are bundled into the foundation of love. Loving ourselves to being the best we can be for those around us. Loving the people around us, whether it's your coworkers, whether it's your friends, your family. And it doesn't have to be, like I said, that intimate love, that passion with another person like you would have with a spouse. But it's just putting somebody else's best interest in mind when you're showing them that love. And there's going to be a lot of different things that are going to try to bring you down. Like I said, different arguments. And there's going to be outside forces that are trying to take you down. And a couple examples I can think of is there was one time I was watching a Vikings game. Skull Vikings, got a new hat here from my mom. Shout out, Mom. Watching a Vikings game at work, and we were losing. And one of my coworkers said, yeah, it stinks that we're losing. And I said, no, my day's going to be shot. It sucks that I put so much time and energy into, watching football, knowing that if they lose, it kind of determines my mental health the rest of the day, my attitude. And he put a very good perspective in my mind. He's like, it's okay to be upset during a game. Obviously, you have a lot of passion for Minnesota Vikings football. Or whether it's a UFC fight, watching Michael Chandler go into the ring and fight, duke it out. I have a lot of passion. And when they lose, I feel like I lose. And my coworker was like, it doesn't have to be that way. You can still be upset during the game, but as soon as it's done, what does it matter? You can't do anything about it anyways. And that really instilled a new perspective in my mind. Thinking, okay, if there's going to be outside forces that are trying to make me upset, trying to ruin my attitude for the rest of the day, whether it's, say I show up late at work, which doesn't happen often. It happened once this past week, and that sucked. But I came into work, and I could have let that affect my attitude for the entirety of the day. Watching the Vikings lose, that can affect my attitude for the entirety of the day. Watching Michael, lose the UFC fight against Charles Oliveira, that could ruin my night. But at the end of the day, it's like, what are we doing? Why are we letting these things get into our mind? And another example, I was driving home one day after work, and normally when I get home, Courtney's there. She meets me. The dogs come running up, and they're super excited to see me. And Courtney's normally cooking something because it's right around that time. I was on my way home and I was at the stoplight and I was behind a car and we were turning left and there was a yellow flashing light arrow, which means you have to yield to oncoming traffic, but you can turn when it's clear. And this car that I got behind, they were just sitting there. Plenty of opportunity to go, and I was starting to lose my mind. I'm like, are you kidding me? Let's go. I didn't honk the horn quite yet. But then as it went down, so it flashes yellow in the middle, and then goes down to the bottom one as a yellow light, and then turns red. As it's transitioning to red, the car decides to go finally and goes. I'm like, are you? I got so upset. I just had a long day at work, and I was looking forward to get home, and I was in a good mood, and then that thing ruined my mood. That person in the car, and I was thinking, what are you doing? Why are you wasting my time? I took it personally. And that attitude transitioned to me, with me as I continued home. I get home and now I'm in a bad mood and Courtney's excited to see me. She's cooking food or whatever. And I'm just like, oh, and now, thankfully I was able to get over it pretty quickly. But what if I'd come home and she was making tacos or something and I was like, we just had tacos last week. What are we doing? Or the dogs are jumping up on me. They're happy to see me and I'm, kicking them off me like, stop. And I start getting upset with the dogs. All that to say, these little outside things are going to be there day in and day out to try to pull us off the path. Try to pull us off of making a difference, not only for our little sphere of influence, but people around us. And that brings up another story that Zig Ziglar talks about in his book, See You at the Top, where a CEO is driving to work and he's running late and he's going a little bit faster than he should and he gets pulled over and he ends up getting a ticket and he's so upset that that police officer had picked him out and had purposely given him a ticket just to ruin his day. Or so he said anyway. So then the CEO goes to work and he gets to the receptionist as he's walking into his desk and she's like, hello sir, how are you doing today? And he's like, I'm having a awful morning, yada yada yada, and he's all upset and huffing and puffing under his breath and goes into his office while the receptionist goes, well man, maybe he's upset at me. Did I do something wrong? Am I not a good enough receptionist? Then she continues on her day and she goes home and she takes it on her kids and her kids are just excited to see her, kind of like I just explained before with my dogs being super excited to see me when I come home after a long day of work. And these kids go, oh, mom's so mad at us. What did we do? We're terrible kids or whatever. And the kid goes outside and he ends up kicking the neighbor's cat. Kicks the neighbor's cat out of frustration because he was so upset that his mom thought that he was, wasn't a good kid. He was naughty. He was in trouble. All this stuff the kid thought just because his mom was upset. Zig Ziglar, the whole point of the story, is like, would that CEO who got pulled over by that police officer been better off to just drive down to that little kid's house and kick the neighbor's cat to start out with instead of having to do all that? Sometimes we can stop that train, that connection of negativity. And a lot of times people think it's just positivity. Oh, you're a very positive person. You are a very optimistic person. And sure, that can, that's, I guess what it boils down to is optimism. But at the root of that is love. Leading with love. And with it being the Christmas season, there's a lot of people who get the bubbly, the get in the joy spirit of Christmas, whether it's gift giving and singing songs and watching movies and seeing all the lights and baking all the treats and the beautiful, lovely, delicious cookies and whatnot. It's a very awesome atmosphere. Everybody looks forward to it, and there may be a few that don't. With different family situations, it can be difficult. But for the most part, everybody is really happy and cheerful in the Christmas spirit around this time of year. And it's not something that has to just be in December. And I think that people are this way because they're leading with love, they're leading with compassion, they're leading with all these other things that I listed, empathy, courage. Maybe they're trying to get through the day and they're showing courage by standing up for somebody else. That's leading with love. Having patience and self-control, showing that kindness, having trust in other people and telling them that you trust them and giving them a reason to trust you. Giving forgiveness to those who you may have wronged and just owning up to it, taking responsibility for your actions. That generosity, that gratitude, being thankful for what you have during this time of year. Maybe it's not much and maybe it's a lot. All that comes back to leading with love. And Colossians 3:14 says, "Above all, clothe yourselves with love, which binds us all together in perfect harmony." Above all, clothe yourselves with love, which binds us all together in perfect harmony. Could you imagine the kind of world that we would have if kids going to school all treated each other with love? There was no bullying. If news stations, all they reported was the good things and not always all the bad things. If we were all just able to lead with a little bit more love. And you might be thinking, Bailey, that is silly. You need to drink a dose of reality, man. Is it though? Is it really silly? You know, I think life's too short not to try to lead with love. And I hope what's been on my mind, what I wrote down here, I hope it's been able to trigger something in your mind a little bit. You know, sometimes we're going to have sparks that pop up. It's just a little spark, but it's up to us to feed that flame to make it a fire that's worth heating up a house or building a big bonfire, sustaining the flames in our lives. I hope this has been able to be an encouragement for you. If not, it's a wonderful reminder for myself to kind of reflect on the things that I'm thinking about, the things that are going through my mind, and the things that are challenging me day in and day out. I appreciate you all for being a part of this journey, this Iron Purpose journey. As iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. That's also leading with love, being out there trying to help each other grow. Feel free to share this. If you'd like to talk about it at all, anything that I said, I would love to hear from you. Either text me, shoot me a message on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, whatever it is, email. If you got a Falcon that can deliver me a little envelope, or the Pony Express, whatever it is, send it my way. If you'd like to be on here, if you'd like to do an episode of whether it's the JABS that we're doing now with a shorter segment or a full-on episode of the Iron Purpose, let me know. Love to get you on here. Because we grow, we learn, we're able to be the best possible version of ourselves when we do have conversations, when we grow in community, when we can learn from each other. You know, it's sometimes easier said than done, but it's also extremely simple when you really think about it. And it's just being open to doing so. So with that, I will let you get back to your Christmas, New Year's, whatever it is you're celebrating. I'll let you get back to that. Appreciate you being here. God bless each and every one of you. Stay sharp, everybody.